A new artery of global trade has begun to pulse, the Iran-China rail corridor. Stretching thousands of kilometers across Asia, this is more than just a railway, it's a steel ribbon binding China's industrial might to the Middle East's resources. This project, a centerpiece of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative, challenges the maritime routes that have dominated commerce for centuries. The first freight trains are already rolling, slashing shipping times from weeks at sea to under 15 days. For China, it's a secure, faster route to vital energy, bypassing strategic maritime choke points. For Iran, it's a lifeline against economic isolation and a gateway to the world's second-largest economy. Together, they're redrawing the economic map of Eurasia. The implications are profound, from oil prices to the balance of power. Years of negotiation, investment, and engineering have culminated in this corridor's opening. The railway traverses deserts and mountains, demanding unprecedented cooperation. The promise of reduced transit times and enhanced security brought these nations together. Goods that once took over 40 days by sea now arrive in under 15. This is a game-changer for time-sensitive and high-value products. The corridor is a physical sign of a shifting global order, away from Western-led maritime dominance toward a multipolar, land-connected Eurasia. The world is watching to see if this grand experiment delivers on its promises. The age of the supercontinent may have just begun. The steel tracks now laid across the continent are more than infrastructure, they're the foundation of a new era. To grasp the significance of this rail corridor, we must look to the past. For centuries, the Silk Road was the main channel for commerce and culture between East and West. Caravans once crossed these same lands, connecting empires and creating legendary cities. The rise of maritime routes shifted global trade away from Eurasia's heartland. The Suez Canal and new sea lanes made overland trade seem obsolete, but China's Belt and Road Initiative is reviving the spirit of the old Silk Road, on steel tracks. This multi-trillion-dollar plan aims to bind Eurasia together, with China at its center. The Iran-China rail corridor is the most critical segment, linking China's factories to the Middle East's energy. Modern engineering and new geopolitics have overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. The steel tracks echo the camel caravans of old, but carry far greater volumes and influence. History is being consciously remade. The new Silk Road is no longer a dream. It's a reality reshaping the world. The Iran-China rail corridor is the product of powerful strategic and economic interests. For China, it's about energy security, bypassing vulnerable sea lanes patrolled by the US Navy. For Iran, it's an economic lifeline, bypassing sanctions and connecting directly to China. This partnership is rooted in shared opposition to American dominance. Chinese state-owned banks financed much of the project, underpinned by a $400 billion cooperation agreement. The railway cements a long-term alliance and anchors China's influence in the region. Central Asian nations like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan also benefit, transforming their landlocked status into an asset. China's economic leverage and diplomacy ensured their cooperation. The result? A multinational web of economic interdependence, all tied to Beijing's vision. The corridor is more than a trade route, it's a strategic realignment of Eurasia. The stakes are global, and the world is watching. Building the Iran-China rail corridor was an engineering feat. The route spans about 10,000 kilometers, linking Urumqi in China to Iran's Gulf ports. It crosses deserts, mountains, and multiple borders, requiring massive upgrades to old Soviet tracks and new construction. The toughest section, Iran's mountains and deserts, conquered by tunnels, viaducts, and cutting-edge technology. A major challenge was differing rail gauges, solved by transshipment hubs and new axle technology. Along the route, new dry ports and customs facilities streamline logistics. Advanced digital tracking and China's Beidou navigation system ensure real-time cargo monitoring. The corridor is more than tracks. It's a complete logistics ecosystem. This seamless integration is designed to rival maritime shipping. The project sets a new standard for overland trade. The steel ribbon is now a high-speed artery for Eurasian commerce. The economic case for the rail corridor is clear in the numbers. Shipping from Shanghai to Iran now takes 14 days by rail, down from 40+ days by sea. A revolutionary change. For high-value and time-sensitive goods, this speed means cost savings and a competitive edge. Trade between China and Iran, valued at $30 billion in 2024, could triple to $90 billion by 2030. Initial freight capacity is 5 million tons per year, with plans to quadruple that within a decade. While rail is pricier per container than sea, the speed and reliability offset the cost for many products. As volume grows, rail costs are expected to fall. Iran can now export minerals and agriculture, not just oil, to China. China, in turn, can send more consumer goods and technology to Iran and beyond. The corridor diversifies and deepens trade ties. Data already shows a surge in non-oil trade, a direct result of this new link. The numbers point to a transformation in Eurasian commerce. For centuries, global trade has depended on maritime chokepoints like Suez and Malacca. Over 80% of China's oil imports pass through these narrow straits, vulnerable to disruption. The Iran-China rail corridor is Beijing's answer, a land-based bypass for high-value and strategic goods. In a crisis, the railway ensures trade can continue even if sea lanes are blocked. This marks a shift from a maritime-dominated world to a hybrid sea-land model. Rail journeys are faster for many routes. China to Europe by rail takes 18 days versus 35 by sea. The corridor creates a new east-west land bridge connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Rising maritime risks, piracy, conflict, and environmental concerns make rail more attractive. Modern electric railways can be greener than oil-burning ships. The corridor is part of a global rethink of supply chains. Land routes are back in the game. For China, the corridor is a strategic and economic triumph. It secures energy imports, opens new markets, and anchors China's influence across Eurasia. For Iran, it breaks economic isolation, brings investment, and cements its role as a regional hub. Ports like Chabahar, now rail-linked, boost Iran's status in global trade. For Europe, the corridor is both opportunity and challenge. It offers faster access to Asian and Middle Eastern markets, but also strengthens the China-Iran axis. European policymakers must decide engage with this new Silk Road or treat it as a strategic threat. Some may integrate, others may hesitate, wary of Beijing's growing control. The railway forces Europe to confront a shifting Eurasian landscape. The choices made now will shape Europe's role in a more connected, contested world. The corridor is a test of Europe's adaptability. The Iran-China rail corridor sends ripples far beyond its tracks. For the US, it weakens traditional levers of influence, sea lanes and financial systems. China and Iran now have a tool to bypass sanctions and naval power. For Russia, the corridor is both opportunity and competition, as it creates a new east-west route outside Russian territory. Moscow must balance its Eurasian ambitions with the rise of this southern corridor. India's own regional plans are complicated, as China's reach now extends to its doorstep. The corridor also shifts dynamics in the Gulf, forcing Saudi Arabia and the UAE to balance economic ties with China against rivalry with Iran. Regional tensions may rise, or economic diplomacy may prevail. The railway could either deepen divides or foster new cooperation. The world's major powers are recalibrating in response. The strategic game board has changed. The Iran-China rail corridor is a landmark in 21st century geopolitics and trade. It's a fast, secure land bridge that challenges maritime dominance and reshapes Eurasia. For China, it's a hedge against sea disruptions. For Iran, a path out of isolation. The corridor promises to triple trade, diversify economies, and deepen ties. It also creates a new center of gravity outside the Western-led order. The project forces the world's powers to rethink their strategies. This new Silk Road is built on shared interests and a vision of a multipolar world. The steel tracks are the sinews of a new geopolitical order. As the first trains roll, the world faces a question: will this be a corridor of power or a path to shared prosperity? The answer will shape the future of Eurasia for decades to come.